in your cells, it actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel. We're noticing other people losing up to 7 pounds in the first week. 4 pounds has been about the average. As you lose weight and as you take these Bella melts, it's going to help lower that blood sugar in your body as well.
All the information is there. MelissaHouseBG.com, MelissaHouseBG.com. Just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 fast action.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are live on worldviewtube.com, worldviewtube, Rumble, and X account. Also, if you have the app, you can watch all of our streams, not just mine, on WorldViewTube app. And if you haven't installed it, pretty easy, for free. Just go to your app store, look up WorldViewTube, and install the app. And make sure to set your notifications to where you will receive notifications when we go live or when there's a breaking news going on. We are also live on X America News on X. We are live on my platforms on Rumble, 2 YouTube channels, Facebook, and Substack. And as always, we are live, so I will check on the comment sections. Today, most likely, I turn my whole body to do it instead of just my neck. But I will check on the comments. I will read them. If you have questions, comments, any information adding to the discussion, I will greatly appreciate it. And share the feed. I'm not going to say it's the most important feed that's airing today, but I would say someone out there might need to hear the information, or they might be confused, and this conversation might give them some answers. We have a lot to talk about. A lot has happened, but I want to talk to you first. I just want to talk to you first. I'm sure we all have had our days, especially last 3 weeks, of frustration, confusion, uncertainty, and all of that. But one thing I kind of faced plenty this weekend, I should say starting Friday evening, is I feel like the switch for thinking has been permanently disabled in majority of population. Why do I say that? I have, those of you who follow me, especially on Facebook and Substack, you've seen my reporting. There are times where I'm just reporting, meaning I'm just giving you the information that's out there. There are times where I'm analyzing. There are times where I'm explaining. And there are times where I'm doing investigative journalism and writing about them for different things, all with the same goal and, agenda, but different things. On starting Friday evening until today, one thing I noticed is, my mind doesn't change. My tone has never changed in the last 10 years, and it's not going to change. Somebody asked me yesterday if there was one thing, guaranteed, and there was one thing you could remove from planet Earth, what would that be? And I was like, Islam. They don't even need to think. And they're like, whoa, wait, let me finish my sentence. I'm like, you don't need to. They're like, well, how about poverty or drugs and illness and all of that? And I was like, no. I'm sure 9 out of 10 people will think about that. So if it comes to my choice, I'm going to remove Islam, because with Islam gone, millions, maybe billions of lives are going to be better. So my tone won't change. I don't do radical. I don't do moderate. I don't do hijacked. I don't do any of that. There's Islam proven for those who care to know the truth. But what I have noticed is the change of tone, but change of tone in I'm trying to be polite here, or at least choose my words carefully, in a ridiculous way. 3 weeks ago until today, I kept reporting of, well, this is not a peace. There has not been a signature on any paper from the two parties of being Israel and Hamas. Stop getting ahead of yourself. You should not negotiate with terrorists, all of that. But then I was attacked, as you know, or I saw other people celebrating, cheering, all of that. And then starting Friday evening, I started seeing the, well, that didn't last long, or why did you think it would last? Like a few of them I actually asked, I said, aren't you the same person who told me not to be a Debbie Downer? Now you're claiming that you knew this isn't going to last? Of course, there was no answer. The reason I'm bringing this up is I'm starting to worry about our society, and I'm not just talking about America. I'm talking human society. Do we think anymore? Or do we turn on our platform, preferred platform, we see what's out there and we just go with the flow? Like, are you all forgetting how to swim? That's my question. Figure of speech, of course. I recently was told that my sentences and sarcasm can be confusing at times, so I'm trying to be careful with that too. Do we think anymore? I do. Do you think anymore? Or do you contradict yourself on a daily basis without even noticing that you're contradicting yourself, which tells people like me that you're not thinking? Because if you had any kind of thought process of your own that was not led by the popular clicks on social media or your favorite person in administration, then you wouldn't flip-flop like the government every day. This is a scary. Government flip-flopping is part of politics. The reason politicians are politicians is because they have mastered the art of flip-flopping and never admitting to flip-flopping, right? Has our society become all politicians now? It's very concerning, at least for me. Saturday, I highly doubt my audience have not heard, but on Saturday, ceasefire broke. Now you have those who will say Hamas did it, you have those who will say Israel did it, and then you have me who said, who cares who did it? I really don't care who broke this ceasefire. I don't. Because it was an unstable, fragile, up-in-the-air ceasefire from the beginning that was called a peace deal. So it doesn't matter who did what when. What matters is the illusion continues. You have those who come on and say, well, it's Hamas. Of course, you shouldn't have expected it to last. Not that I did. But then you have President Trump himself on Sunday, after tons, and by tons, I don't mean number-wise, I mean weight-wise. Thanks to English, I have to explain. Probably there's a different pronunciation. But anyways, tons of bombs were dropped. And a bunch of people died. I think 2 or 3 IDF soldiers were killed. A couple of Hamas members were killed. President Trump looks people in the eye and says, the ceasefire is in place. Does he not know what a ceasefire means? Or is he genuinely that bluntly lying flat out at this point? And the moment he says that, everybody's tone on social media changes again. Peace, peace, everlasting. Bombs are still landing. Hello. Bombs are still landing. Rightfully so, Israel government shut down all the aids coming into Gaza. I should note this. I'm trying not to. Guys, if you see me move hard or stiff, or if I sound a little out of breath, the next situation has got worse in the last couple of days. So I don't want to fail and take the week off or whatever, but when I breathe, the back of my shoulder actually have a sharp pain. So if you hear that, it's not that I'm having a heart attack because of the topic. It's just my neck and shoulder situation. His lying and then social media tone changes. Everybody, those who were complaining Friday night and Saturday, come back to being all cheerful and happy Sunday. Come on. Let's do a quick reality check. There was never a peace deal because neither Hamas or Israel signed it. There was a momentary ceasefire, and as expected by those who think and those who don't think and follow like sheeps, Hamas didn't deliver on the very first point, the very first step. Rightfully so, Israel government decided to go back to where it's at, including cutting down on the trucks of aids coming in, including moving back into the Gaza, changing the yellow lines, and all of that. The reality is, 3 weeks ago, when this charade started by a bunch of billionaires, and by a bunch of billionaires, I mean Erdogan in Turkey, Emir of Qatar, government of Egypt and Trump and his administration. A bunch of billionaires decided, hey, there's a good time to possibly make more money. Let's dive in. So I'll call it a charade, or you could call it a deal of a bunch of billionaires, however you want to phrase it. 3 weeks ago was 3 weeks earlier to finish Hamas for Israel. And this charade has just delayed the process. For anybody to think otherwise, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. How many times, and I don't want to do the cliche of the cliche, but insanity, right? Do the same thing, expect different solution. Why? Do you really, is anyone out there genuinely think Trump is scary enough for Hamas to be afraid of him? Why? What has he done? Genuinely, tangibly, what did Trump ever do to become that scary? You may want to say he ordered the takeout of Abu Bakr Baghdadi. He ordered the takeout of Qasem Soleimani, 100%. But here are the differences. He just ordered it. He didn't carry it out. So he's not this scary. If there is a scenario, a group of militia or jihadists or Islamists should be afraid of our military. Are they anymore? No. I don't care how much Trump stands there and say we have the strongest and the scariest military ever. We don't. We haven't in a long time. And Trump himself isn't the guy to put any orders. It's been 10 months since Trump came into office. It's been 10 months. Trump has constantly said, if Hamas doesn't end it, we'll end it for them. If Hamas doesn't do this, we do this. None of it has happened. As of right now, Trump has given Hamas more and more, either time, oxygen, prisoners, all of that. Remember, regardless of the fact that Hamas did not deliver the deceased bodies, Trump has still made Israel release all 1,950 prisoners, including the 250 jihadists, rapists, murderers, right? Somebody on Facebook, many buddies, posted this meme of Hamas just proved to Democrats that they are easier to negotiate with than Democrats. I will disagree with you. If Trump would give Democrats as much as he gave Hamas, I'm pretty sure the government shutdown would be over immediately. Think, people, think. Think, for love of all thing country, think for a minute. Stop this shippo attitude. Stop believing that there is some bigger plan behind all of this. Stop allowing your absolute hatred for Democrats to cloud your judgment that Hamas is easier to deal with. Look at the offers on the table. I am not defending Democrats, FYI. I'm just trying to ask you to turn back on your own brain cells before it is way too late. We got to go take our first ad break, guys. When we come back, I will check on your comments and continue the discussion. Don't go anywhere. Well, hello everybody, it's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com. Up to freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. And yes, our Christmas sale is still going on, guys. lutfstudio.com. Across the store, there is 30% off all items. And on top of that, you can use your promo code MISSION for an extra 10% off. This is going to be ongoing. However, I want to make sure you understand a lot of items when you see them. I had someone writing me on Etsy very kindly saying, I added something to my cart. I came back next day to check it out. It was gone. can you remake it? And that's the thing. Remember, I can try to get close, but if it's very hard to recreate them. So if you see something you like, go ahead and click on them. If you see a design you like, but not the color or the color combination, right there on the left side after the categories, there's a link that says contact the seller. Click on that, write me. Say like, let's say the green cross. Hey, that green cross necklace, I like it. Can you make it in brown, yellow, orange, whatever the color might be? And I'll receive that as a notification on my phone way faster than if you email me. And I will get back to you. We have had plenty of custom orders that have been shipped out. Most of the ornaments, necklaces, keychains, earrings, they're all customable, meaning you can pick your own colors, 1, 2, I'm testing the 3, but 30% off all items. If you purchase $35 and higher, you also get free shipping. I don't even know how I'm making money off of this, but Lord has blessed us to store with your help. So head over to lutfstudio.com, make a purchase, or send me a message with your desired color set or how many ornaments. I have someone who ordered 8, another person ordering 10. If you want more than, I normally do just 1 or 2 of each. But if you want more, you can again write me and say, hey, I want 10, 8, 5, whatever the case might be. Perfect. And you are right on the comment section. Sybil says, thinking is a rare trait these days. It is, and it's very concerning. And I do believe a huge part of it is the laziness, the lack of accountability. People don't want to think for themselves, because I sit here and I think for myself and I talk for myself. And if I say something that ends up being bad for myself, for my audience, then I will be held accountable, instead of sitting here and repeating Fox News's report and then later say, well, Fox lied. It wasn't my fault. It comes from that lack of accountability. Hi, William. It is so good to see you on Facebook. Gary said, Joel 3, the Lord roars from Zion and utters his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth trembles. But the Lord is the refuge for his people and a stronghold to the sons of Israel. Amen. That's not even a start on the, discussion of Zionism being the problem. Apparently we're the problem now. Thank you, Blair. I appreciate your prayers for my next situation. I can most certainly use them. Dawn says, I agree with you. I would eliminate Islam. Thank you. I'm praying for your neck to heal. We are working with my chiropractor. Some of you might remember, this has started back in June. We were making great progress. However, a little bit of, the 12 days war, and then after that, the ceasefire, all of that got me on this desk about 10, 12 hours a day, and that was apparently a bad move. So she is definitely working on it. And of course, your prayers are helping as well. I will check the comments again in a few minutes, guys. Appreciate your joining the discussion. Okay, so we checked the reality, right? The reality of the whole Gaza ceasefire piece. It doesn't exist. It's not there. Stop feeding the illusion. One thing, again, just personal. There was a time, as most of you know, that I was an atheist. This was after my biological father died, and I was informed that he died in his sleep. That was when I said, there is no God. This man cannot do what he's done in his life and die peacefully in his sleep. So I became an atheist. While being an atheist, I had a couple of people around me influencing my illusion of atheism. I'm not blaming them, for the record. However, I do think that if it wasn't for their influence of feeding into my illusion, giving me more reasoning, excuses of why I'm right to think there is no God, probably my logic would kick in a lot sooner, because at some point my logic took over. It's like, what are you doing, girl? This atheism thing makes no sense. Let's walk away. And I did, but I do believe that the illusion of mine was enabled by those around me who were atheists, and they were rightfully so for their own believed they were feeding into my illusion. Now, this applies to all humans. This applies to all illusions, all lies, right? I am asking you to stop feeding into this illusion. This is not me being an atheist. This is not somebody being a drug addict. We're talking the longest lasting cult of all time. Most cults fell apart or dissolved or exposed. 1400 years of cult of Islam has taken too many lives. It's enough. The more you feed into this peace president narrative and the everlasting peace narrative, and I'm not even talking just to my fellow Christians now, I'm talking to everybody. Even if you don't think of the word everlasting peace the way we do, that's all right. But think about it. Is this really everlasting peace? Is there even a possible way to have everlasting peace with Islam and Muslims? I was going to send in the video, to be honest with you, I was running out of time. I move a little slower than usual, so I didn't. But Brian House sent me a tweet this morning. It's a very short, few minutes of clip of J.D. Vance being asked. As you know, he's going to Israel tomorrow to join Witkoff and Kushner to try to salvage what's in front of them. And he's asked that by a reporter, I think Fox News reporter, he's asked that Vice President, there is no set time, there's no date on disarming Hamas by President Trump. What are your thoughts? And his response was tragically hilarious for me, for someone like me. I laughed, and I did respond to Brian House text with that very, laughing to the point of crying face emoji. 3 of them instead of 1. Why? I'm paraphrasing. I don't have it memorized, but his response is sort of disarming Hamas is not something you can put a date on, because we don't have the manpower or the security system put in place to even confirm if they're disarmed. Let's pause there. What? I thought Hamas was nothing. They were these little tiny group of cockroaches that we could just step on and be done. Huh. So, Mr. Vice President, now you're admitting that it's more complicated than that. Then he moves forward to say even Arab Muslim countries don't have the needed, the required steps to know if Hamas has been disarmed. And Hamas says it's not like that. So we need to step into this process, take care of a few things, and then get to when we can put a date on disarming Hamas. Again, for me, this is hilarious. Why is this hilarious? Because I've been telling everybody, including this administration, last administration, all administration, every single European country, that, hello, you can't disarm Hamas. You either finish Hamas or you fight Hamas. There is no disarming Hamas. So for me, that's why I'm like, oh, no kidding. Took you long enough to come to realize. But the tragic part is that he knows he can admittedly, publicly say this on video, and will receive him and Trump will receive no backlash, because nobody's going to sit here and say, if you knew this, why did you release their 1950 jihadists? Because I asked that. But again, I am this very, very tiny, faded voice, especially when it comes to America. I'm like far away. No one hears it, and the few who do, they're like, great job, good question, but I'm not going to repeat your question because, well, I don't. The voices out there that are being heard are never going to give them any backlash or ask questions or say, then wait a minute. Why did you call for ceasefire? Why did you have IDF pull back? Why did you release all the aids? When you knew for fact, you don't even know when and how you're going to disarm Hamas. But well, here we are. Hamas not disarmed. Not that I ever thought, or did I ever say on air, off air, in my sleep or my nightmares, that Hamas will be disarmed. But now we have confirmation from Vice President J.D. Vance that they don't know. Forget about the when. Right now, they're trying to figure out the how. Now, we double down when, again, the flip-flopper, the big flip-flopper, Trump, one that says the ceasefire is right where it's at, a couple of bombs were dropped, we're managing, which makes no sense. Ceasefire is either on or off, right? He's now creating a new terminology of we're managing it, and everybody, of course, falls on their feet to believe it because Trump said it. Then he goes with, if Hamas doesn't stop, we stop them. Tick tock, not the app. Time going, 3 weeks, Mr. President. No, okay. Does he not understand? Forget about the 1,700, just the 250 of the convicted Palestinians in prisons of Israel who were released are trained killers. They have taken an oath to die in name and way of Allah. And they're out there now. By the way, does anybody has a track of them? We know where they're at? Like, did they maybe come to America like the Louisiana guy? No, we don't know. This is where you understand there is no sense of urgency with President Trump, his advisors, or his son-in-law when it comes to knowing actively there are jihadists out there released in, well, with their pen and signature, who are immediately back on their mission, immediately. I said, let's forget about the 1950. I'm going to be stupid like most people out there who say 1,700 of them were just children and women who were so innocent. I'm going to play that game. 250 of them were convicted, meaning they already committed crimes such as rape, assault, killing, bombing, plotting, planning bombs, building bombs, recruiting jihadists, training jihadists, convicted already, done it already. It's not like they have to think about it if they want to do it again or not. And by the way, why wouldn't they do it again? Why not? They get released one way or another. The recent message was so loud, even Houthis heard it. I strongly encourage you to subscribe, even if just for free. Subscribe to my Substack. When you go to my Substack, liveuptofreedom.substack.com, you'll see that there's a button that says notes. If you click on that, you'll see all the short reporting I'm putting up. And one of them is this. On Saturday, Houthis decided, well, perfect, let's party, let's go. They pretty much raided a UN facility and kidnapped. Now they hold hostages of over 20 international. Now they have anybody from so many different countries who are UN workers. Then I don't care how much you hate UN, but you don't get to say, yay, UN workers were kidnapped by Houthis, who are the Iranian-backed jihadists. Now they have the leverage. They need to negotiate because, well, our administration has sent out a loud, crystal clear message. You're a jihadi? It's all right. Pretend like you're going to deal with me. Pretend like I'm making history, and I'll let you free. We just did 1950, and now Houthis are getting into the business of kidnapping foreigners for possible leverage. We're going to take our next ad break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. I'm starting to think I should just, on my own platforms, I should just start streaming on Substack only. Other platforms seem to be not active. Let's see. Not possible to have lasting peace with Muslims. Taqiyya, lying is their native language. Allah is the greatest of all deceivers, says Blur. Exactly. I'm so glad you guys know all of this. Yes, there's Hudna, there's Taqiyya, there's Ketman, so much more. But here's the thing. I highly doubt. I refuse to believe that I know this, you guys know this, but no one on Trump administration knows this. Come on. Even if they don't, doubt it. I refuse to believe. But, well, Israelis do. Why would they, as Brandon always says, if Jews run America, why is it that every single time American leaders stop Israel from finishing these jihadists? Any of them, Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, Iran for that matter, right? Curious, just curiosity. Hi, Sandra. It is so good to see you. I appreciate your prayers. I would also eliminate Islam and all idolatry. I know what that means when you have idols, but I can't pronounce it. But while the Islamists are here, how would you recommend that we most effectively share the gospel with Muslims? Are there key questions that we could use to challenge their false teaching? Wonderful question. I love that, Sandra. And yes, there is. So I have always said, before you open up about the gospel, you first want to get them to admit the difference, specifically about Jesus. I have said this not as a complaint, but as a point that, if someone at some point, which they did later, but earlier on in my life in America, if somebody would tell me Jesus loves you, or Jesus heals, or Jesus died because, for your sins, I would have probably hear him sooner. Nobody did. And my whole idea was Jesus is what I read in the Quran about Jesus, right? So the first thing you want to do is get their attention on the difference between Jesus of Nazareth versus Jesus of Islam. And you don't want to do it as an attack, because I know today, I know how frustrating it is to say, let me tell you about Jesus. They're like, oh, I already know Isa, Jesus, we believe in Jesus. And immediately your reactions, no, you don't. But you don't want to go that route. You want to open oh, you do? So what does Islam say about Jesus? Immediately, right there, you have the opening to introduce the truth about Jesus. Most Muslims don't know Jesus. They know the fake and phony Jesus of Islam in the Quran. That has been pretty successful for me, where I opened up by saying, though I know the answer, but I don't even say that I know the answer. I'm like, by the ways, I've heard that, we can get along and, you believe in Jesus. They're like, yeah, of course. I'm like, so what do you believe? Or what is Jesus? Who is Jesus? And they start telling me, and I just shake my head and I let them finish their description. I'm like, well, what if I told you that, he wasn't just a prophet? They normally resist. You'll see the change in their face where they're like, whoa, you're about to turn me into an infidel. You're going to make me think of kafir, and I don't want to go to hell. So it's not a one-time conversation, just for the record. It's not that you just tell them, they believe, it's done. It's planting that seed, turning that little light bulb on, on and on. Now, if it's just a random, I have had times where I just came across this conversation for 5 minutes. And then from there, I just prayed that Lord will do the rest. But that's your best bet. Look, that's where you go with Muslims. Because remember, they claim they believe in Jesus. that is where you're like, okay, but the Jesus you believe in is the different. There's a difference between the Jesus you believe in and the true Jesus who saved me and died for my sins and laid his life for me. And he is not planning to come back to break the cross and get behind Muhammad, for the record. But I appreciate the question, though. Jan says, as they continue to make deals with the ones that promote them, right? Jan, it's so. I don't even know how there are still people who don't see this whole marketing charade. Like every single time I hear Trump or Vance or Kushner or Witkoff or any of them, they're like, Qatar is, our great ally. I'm like, hi, fellow Americans, wake up. Hi. I mean, Qatar is too obvious. Like almost every single American who has ever gone online knows the role of Qatar in destruction. Like, how can you not see the marketing and the PR and just cheer on? But I don't know. I've been told that I'm wired differently. Anyhow, okay. Let me try to finish the topic of red-green axis in Gaza by end of the segment, which is 6 minutes away, or 7 minutes. Okay, so we established, hopefully, not that it's the first time I established it day one, but now we at least know they're managing the ceasefire. Things got so bad that Trump had to add Vance to it. It's like, okay, Witkoff, Kushner are doing okay, but Vance, why don't you jump on, go over there and try to salvage what's left of this embarrassing situation. Now, something else interesting is going on. One of the names, as you know, who signed a peace deal by Trump was Erdogan of Turkey. Saturday, late night our time, morning of Sunday, guess who showed up in Gaza? Turkey showed up. Erdogan sent, I believe the number was 80 or 81, which is curious of that extra one, but 80 or 81 Turkish servicemen. Now, they're not officially calling it the Turkish military, okay? They're not supposed to be military members. However, they are servicemen who showed up in Gaza to help with the humanitarian aid, search for the bodies, and being the wonderful, great allies of Israel and US. I actually saw the videos and the pictures of them arriving with the Turkish flag on top of their trucks and cars and whatever was going in. And the first thing that came to mind is like, isn't this interesting? And I'm not going to even go Christian on this. I'm just going to do a person well-informed of especially Middle Eastern history. I'm like, okay, so first President Trump invites Erdogan to the White House. Then he lifts the ban on selling him F-35. Then Erdogan announced that Turkey is going to provide heavy weapons to Syria. That is Jelani, the other good-looking guy, in Syria. And then now Erdogan is showing up in Gaza helping IDF. That's a very curious timeline. And I have done another expose on my Substack, and I believe the one with Erdogan is free to public. You don't have to be a paid subscriber to read it, which I would just take a step to the side for a minute and say, I do encourage you to become a paid subscriber. I think my paid subscribers can put a testimony on the comment sections, maybe, that it is worth the $8 a month or $80 a year. I really work hard on those exposés, and I can almost guarantee that 9 out of 10, you find information that you can't find them by Googling or going to other websites or, finding on Fox News. I get a lot of information to you. And also that way you can support me to continue paying my bills. Lord willing, no need to pay for the surgery, but I do have bills to pay. So become a paid subscriber if you can. I did an expose on Erdogan. I did put it out. This was when he got invited to the White House. the night or day after he was in the White House. I wrote that. Erdogan publicly, openly, again, just like Qatar's role, Erdogan's role is pretty clear. He has never, ever, Erdogan was never, one thing I have always said that I respect about this enemy is that he doesn't even use taqiyya. He doesn't. From day one, he's been open and he's been honest. He's the man who literally said to the Westerners, you are insulting us when you say radical Islam. There's just one Islam. That's how honest this person is. He's the guy who said, if Europe continues bashing Islam or banning Islam, or he's going to flood Europe with his jihadists through borders as illegals. Point being, Erdogan has been very clear from day one, and Erdogan has worked very hard to reverse everything Ataturk did in Turkey. Just in case if you don't know about Ataturk, he was the man who pretty much abolished caliphate in Turkey, turned it into a republic, broad freedom, override every single piece of Islamic Sharia involvement of constitution in Turkey. He came to power a few months before King Pahlavi of Iran, the father, not the son, who was toppled. And that's the thing, Reza Pahlavi, the first visit he ever made after taking power in Iran was to Turkey to visit with Ataturk to get advice from Ataturk of how to turn Iran from that Qajar dynasty Sharia mindset into what Turkey was now. The reason Turkey ever made it to be being part of EU was because of all the hard and harsh, I will say this, Ataturk was no saint. He was pretty harsh implementing, but he was harsh against the mindset and the barbarism of Sharia. So I don't really hold it against him. Anyways, I can talk about Ataturk forever. His something. If you don't know about him, if you've never heard of him or studied him, I'd be more than happy to write a piece on him. But find out, watch him. He's something. I felt like he never got the proper credit he deserved. At least playing the role he did in the bridge of Middle East and Europe. He built that bridge. Now, a lot of other people abused it, misused it, but the bridge was built because of Ataturk. And though many will call him a dictator, and I will agree, I just told you, just like Pahlavi, there were times where he enforced the change, but he was brilliant. You know, I sometimes have said that he should get as much attention and reviews and credit as Churchill. But again, I don't know. I have studied him. I know a lot about him. I've read a lot about him. When spending 3 years in Turkey as a refugee, I've done a lot of talking to older generations of Turkey, understanding their point of view of Ataturk, the before Ataturk caliphate, after Ataturk, all of that. So, and by the way, his name isn't even Ataturk, but he's called Ataturk in Turkish. Ataturk means the father of Turkey. Ata is father, Turks, Turk. So he earned himself the title of father of Turkey for what he did for people of Turkey. But today, apparently, President Trump thinks Erdogan is a great leader and he's done great things for his people. Do you think if I would ask President Trump, like, do you know who Ataturk is? He would even know. I highly doubt it. Well, here we go. We got to go take our last ad break. Don't go anywhere. We come back to conclude on the show today.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHousebg.com.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. We have about 12 minutes to wrap this up. I know I talked a little, it's scattered, wouldn't be, it's all on the same topic, but I think I gave too much information. But let me conclude on that. So we have Turkey, Erdogan coming in. On the other hand, France's government came out and said, how about this? Why don't you let an EU designated group to come in and train the police in Gaza? Number one, I didn't even know they have a police. I thought Hamas is the police, but okay. Number two, the funny one, I mean, no disrespect, but to EU, specifically to France, if you know how to train your police, why don't you train your own police? I mean, we're all aware of all the jihadists attacking your country. We're aware of the grooming, the rape, the torture, machete, the screamings on your streets, canceling festivals because there was a bomb threat. Why don't you train your own police? Or do you think you're better qualified to train Palestinian police because your mindset is just like them? Is that why you're offering? Bottom line, EU is now stepping in. And of course, US has been, as President Trump said, I'm a very busy man. I didn't want it, but everybody begged me. They were on their knees begging for me to lead this transitional government. And I accepted it. I mean, not that I wanted it. Like, it's not like I won the Peace Prize or anything. It's just out of goodness of my heart. While America is burning to the ground, the economy is collapsing, Bitcoin is scamming, and I'm giving more money to big pharma, I'm so good, I'm going to try to make Gaza great again. Oh, wait, Gaza never was great. Oops. Let me tone down the sarcasm. Erdogan's coming in from the green side of the red-green axis. EU is coming in. Do I even need to explain the stand of EU with globalist communists? I don't. Here's your red side. And then you have the red-green dealer. I will be writing on this weekend. I will put a note out in a minute, but this weekend you will be receiving a Substack from me. I have finally come to realize what I can call United States of America in the process of red-green axis. We are the dealer. When I look at last 10 months, and when I look at the 2017 through 2020, end of 2020, United States of America has become the official dealer of connecting red and green in best possible scenarios. So you put those together in middle of Gaza, well, Hamas is not going to step down. Hamas is not going to disarm. So the red-green will have no choice but to rebrand Hamas, mark my words or not. Today is October 20th. Is it October 20th? Yes. October 20th, 2025, on a Monday. They will rebrand Hamas just like they did Jelani to al-Shura. They will put them in suits. They will let them keep their weapons, and red-green will redo Gaza, not in benefit of peace, not in benefit of Gazans nor Jews, in benefit of red-green endgame. Keep an eye on it. Stop getting super excited. We didn't win anything. We lost a lot. We are not the biggest, scary America you all think we are. Most leaders are laughing at us. This morning, last night, our time, morning of Iran, after 6 weeks of not being anywhere in the public, Supreme Leader of Iran comes out, does a speech, addresses the public or the nation. And the only thing he had to say about Trump is, the guy is a blabbermouth. And I'm like, I never thought I would agree on anything but Supreme Leader of Iran. Well, never say never, right? Even the Supreme Leader of Iran is not that scared anymore, apparently. And that happens when you go save somebody's life the way Trump saved Khamenei's life. That happens. Khamenei takes it personal. He gets the message. And, Trump comes over and says, I highly doubt Iran will support Hamas anymore. Literally minutes after I hear with my own ears from IRGC commander in Farsi saying, with condolences of the general of Houthis being killed in the recent strike, and congratulations to the new general. We are putting together a new package to be sent to the Houthis as well as our brothers in Gaza, Hamas. President Trump, I am asking you to please get your information from some source that is more reliable than whomever it is feeding you all this. Everybody's so scared of you. You're the man. Because America is looking pretty bad. And on that note, I will also go back to the sarcasm I had earlier on this segment. Why are you not upset, people? Seriously. Does anybody know, or can anybody give me this answer on the comment sections, live, later, send me an email? I don't know. Let me do the cliche of what Steven Crowder started. Change my mind. America is at a breaking point. We haven't achieved a squad. All the arrests have not had enough deportation. All the indictment has had no one in prison. All the unreleased files are still unreleased. Our economy is not better, face it. I don't know if you do grocery shopping, if you pay mortgage, if you pay car insurance, because I do, and I can tell you, nothing has changed as far as economy. However, it has gotten worse in certain areas. And I am not in a blue city. I am not in a blue state. I am in the reddest county of the reddest city of a red state. So why are you okay with him and his entire team constantly taking vacation time in Middle East while the whole point was to close the door and fix America? I don't hear anybody complaining about the fact of, I don't care. Listen, I come from Iran. I love Israel. From day one, I said, President Trump, butt out. Let Israel finish Iran. Let Israel finish Hezbollah. Let Israel finish Hamas. Or let them finish Israel. How about that? Because everybody I think Israel is the best. They proved, during those 12 days, they proved to the world that they are the best. If we would get out of the way. As an Iranian American, I've been saying it for months. Get out of Middle East, butt out, come fix the situation here. Why is everybody else okay? Like, you want to tell me what is J.D. Vance doing in Israel tomorrow? Why is he going to Israel? Well, technically tonight, being Tuesday morning in Israel. Why? All of this is cost. We don't have the money. We don't have $230 million to spare that. We just did. We sent $230 million to Lebanese government to disarm Hezbollah. And on Friday, Lebanese government came out and said, we have come to an agreement with Hezbollah. We're not going to disarm them. We're going to limit their access to weapons. I want our $230 million returned. You know what? I didn't want it sent in the first place. You know what, Mr. President Trump? It's none of your business what's happening with Hezbollah, okay? We have our homeless here in America who can benefit from that $230 million. We have kids who are being smuggled through our own Children Protective Services who could benefit from that $230 million to have better system, to hire more people, to audit these groomers. Oh, no, wait. We don't stop child trafficking because, well, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that America leads. While I'm at it, there's a news that nobody's covering because probably nobody thinks there's importance into it, right? But let's talk about Hannibal Gaddafi, the son of the Gaddafi of Libya, okay? He was never involved with his father's government or empire. He did enjoy the luxurious lifestyle. However, in 1978, one Iranian Lebanese Shia imam with two companions, one of them Lebanese journalist, the other one a sheikh. He was invited to Libya by Gaddafi. The three of them, being the imam, the sheikh, and the journalist from Lebanon, they got on a plane and they pretty much disappeared. The Libyan government, Gaddafi, said they went to Italy. Italy said they never made it here. Iran and Lebanon accused Gaddafi of being involved with their disappearances. Fast forward 2011, 2012, sometime there, Gaddafi's dead already. The sons who were involved with the government are dead. Hannibal, the son who was not involved with his government but enjoyed the luxurious life, who took off running after 2011, he is kidnapped, captured by Syrian militia group that is now the government of Syria, and handed over to Lebanon. They put him in prison, not accused of being involved with the kidnapping or death of Imam that disappeared in 87, however, for withholding information. Short clip, that was the shortest version I could give you. Now, on Saturday, Hannibal Gaddafi was released from Lebanese prison. For most people, this might be like, okay, who cares? I'm just going to do a quick draw here. Hear me now, believe me, never. The timing of Hannibal Gaddafi release is extremely curious. Russia is struggling to hold on to power in Syria while Trump is fighting over Giuliani with him. And just in case if you didn't know, Russia has a pretty heavy influence in Libya as well. Libya is still a chaos zone. Iran is trying to gain control over Libya again. And suddenly, Lebanese government, the one that we just gave $230 million, desperate between Hezbollah, pressure from Europe, pressure from Iran, pressure from Afghanistan, they suddenly decide Gaddafi's son didn't know anything after 14 years, let's release him. Could this be just a release? Yes. Could this possibly be another coup is coming up in Libya and Hannibal Gaddafi will take power back after his father? I don't know. Will he? As I said, Russia and Iran are making different chess moves in Middle East while everybody's distracted with Gaza and the peace plan. Russia and Iran are making different chess moves inside Middle East. Just keep an eye on it. Of course, I'll keep the eye on it for you and report back, but I figured I should put this out because nobody is talking about the fact that Hannibal Gaddafi was even released, let alone possibly drawing a couple of dots to be like, whoa, wait, the timing is very curious. So let's keep that in mind. I appreciate you, Cheryl. Cheryl says Annie is wealth of information because of her background in Iran and knowing the language. Subscription worth it. Please subscribe as paid subscriber on my Substack. Thank you, Jan, and I do appreciate your support. I do see your name on the comments, on the restacks, on the likes, so I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Tonight on the Worldview Report, President Trump talks with Russian leader Vladimir Putin by phone and announces a second summit aimed at ending the war in Ukraine. We've been witnessing the biggest jump in silver prices in nearly 50 years. But what's next for the precious metals market? We'll ask an expert. China reportedly has a new secret weapon available for use against U.S. fighter jets. And President Trump authorizes the CIA to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela. John Bolton gets indicted on 18 counts related to his handling of classified information. All these stories and more as the Worldview Report begins right now.